Okay, so if you're managing any virtual machines in the cloud, you know this constant headache, right? You need to get into them, but every door you open is a potential security risk. And, getting that balance wrong can be, well, a total disaster. Today, we are going to break down one of the most elegant solutions out there for locking that door up tight. So, just take a second and think about it. How are you connecting to your virtual machines right now? Are you using a VPN, maybe a jump box? Or are you taking that riskier, more direct route? It's a really crucial question because, let's be honest, the easiest method is almost always the most dangerous one. For a lot of folks, this is just the default. You spin up a VM, you slap a public IP address on it, and you open up port 3389 for RDP or 22 for SSH. And yeah, it's fast, it's easy, and it puts your machine right on the public internet for anyone to see. I mean, exposing those ports is literally like leaving your digital front door wide open. There are automated bots out there just constantly scanning the internet for these exact openings, hammering them with brute force attacks and all kinds of exploits. Your VM instantly becomes a public target. What you want is a protected VM, one that's totally shielded from the internet, accessible only through a secure private gateway. So how do we actually get there? How do we go from that scary, exposed state to a nice, safe, protected one? Well, this is where our hero of the day comes in, Azure Bastion. You can think of it as a secure, managed front door that sits between you and all your virtual machines. So what is Azure Bastion exactly? Well, it's a fully managed platform as a service, or PaaS. Now, the magic words there are fully managed. What that really means is that Microsoft handles all the tough stuff. The patching, the scaling, the security hardening, all of it is done for you. You just get this hardened, secure access point right out of the box with none of the maintenance headaches. And this diagram just illustrates it perfectly. Check out the flow here. You, the user, connect to the Azure portal over a standard secure web connection, port 443. The portal then connects you to the Bastion host. It's only then that the Bastion host starts the RDP or SSH session to your VM, and it does that using the VM's private IP address. You see, the public internet never ever touches your VM. And here's the big payoff. Your VMs don't need public IP addresses anymore at all. Their RDP and SSH ports are completely invisible to the outside world. That right there just eliminates port scanning from your list of worries and shrinks your attack surface down to almost nothing. All your access now happens through a secure session right inside your web browser. Now, this all sounds great, but I know what you're thinking. This has got to be a nightmare to set up. But it's really not. The whole process is actually just a few pretty simple, high-level steps. I mean, it really just boils down to this. 1, you create the Bastion resource itself. 2, if your VMs are on a different network, you just peer the networks together so they can talk to each other. And 3, you connect. It is honestly that straightforward. And here's literally what step 1 looks like. You just hop into the Azure portal, search for Bastion, and fill out this form, just like you would for any other Azure resource. Give it a name, pick a region, and choose your tier. And a little pro tip, you're probably going to want the standard tier to unlock some of the really cool advanced features we're about to talk about. And for step 2, if you need it, you set up what's called VNet pairing. It's a standard Azure thing that just links 2 virtual networks together so they basically act like one big network. The cool thing about this is that a single Bastion host can then act as a secure gateway for VMs across a bunch of different networks, which is incredibly efficient. And finally, the best part, actually connecting. You just go to your VMs page in the portal, click that Bastion option, type in the machine's username and password, and boom! A new browser tab opens with your full desktop or command line session. That's it. No clunky client software to install, no agents to manage on your VMs, zero hassle. So we've covered the core security and how easy it is to set up, but Bastion has a few more tricks up its sleeve that help solve some really tricky real-world access problems. It all comes back to this one fundamental idea, which the documentation just states perfectly. Bastion protects your virtual machines from exposing RDP/SSH ports while still providing secure access. It is truly the best of both worlds. Okay, so let's see how this applies to a really common situation. All right, think about this super common headache. You've got a contractor, right? A third party who needs temporary access to just one single VM to do their job. How do you give them that access without creating a full user account for them in your whole Azure environment? The answer is so elegant. It's one of my absolute favorite features, shareable links. You are gonna love this. The idea is so simple, but so powerful. From the Bastion configuration page, you just check a box next to the VMs you want to share, and Azure generates a unique URL for that session.
Now this is the genius part. The person you send that link to doesn't need any permissions in your Azure subscription. They don't have to be a user in your directory, nothing. They just click the link, enter the VM's local credentials, and they are in. But they're only in to that one specific machine. It's perfectly granular, temporary access without all the overhead. So that brings us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? Azure Bastion gives you a simple, really powerful way to go from being exposed and vulnerable to being hardened and protected. It's just a fundamental tool for modern cloud security, which really only leaves one question for you. Is your cloud's front door locked and bolted?